Picture this, a dark, starless sky, the air thick with tension as a young god, armed with a jagged sickle, rises against his own father. With one swift, brutal act, Cronus severs the heavens from the earth, casting his father Uranus into the abyss and claiming the throne of the cosmos. This is no ordinary tale of rebellion. It's the moment that reshaped the universe and set the stage for one of the most powerful figures in ancient mythology, Cronus, the king of the Titans. Cronus is a figure of immense power, fear, and complexity. His story is woven with betrayal, prophecy, and the eternal struggle for dominance. From his rise to power to his eventual downfall, Cronus's life is a tapestry of epic battles, divine intrigue, and timeless lessons about the cost of ambition. In this video, we'll dive deep into 30 captivating legends surrounding Cronus. Each story reveals a new layer of his character, his cunning, his paranoia, his triumphs, and his tragedies. Together, we'll explore how Cronus's actions shaped the world of the gods and left an indelible mark on mythology. So, if you're ready to uncover the secrets of the Titan King, to walk through the golden age of his rule, and to witness the rise and fall of a god who dared to challenge the very fabric of the cosmos, stay with us. By the end of this journey, you'll not only understand Cronus's legacy, but also see why his story continues to captivate us thousands of years later. Let's begin. Now, let's step into the first legend of Cronus, a tale of prophecy, rebellion, and the birth of a new order. It all begins with a chilling prediction that would set the stage for one of the most dramatic moments in Greek mythology. Cronus's mother, Gaia, the primordial goddess of the earth, had grown weary of her husband Uranus, the sky god. Uranus, in his cruelty, had imprisoned their children, the Cyclopes and the Hecatoncheires, deep within the earth, causing Gaia immense pain. Filled with anger and desperation, Gaia turned to her youngest son, Cronus, with a prophecy. If he rose against his father, he would not only free his siblings but also claim the throne of the cosmos. Armed with a jagged sickle forged by Gaia herself, Cronus waited for the perfect moment. When Uranus descended to embrace Gaia, Cronus struck, severing his father's power and casting him into the void. This act, known as the castration of Uranus, was more than just a violent rebellion. It was a cosmic turning point. By overthrowing Uranus, Cronus freed his siblings and took control of the universe, becoming the ruler of the Titans. But this act carried profound significance. In Greek mythology, it symbolized the separation of the heavens and the earth, creating the space where life could flourish. It also marked the beginning of a new era, one where the Titans would dominate the cosmos under Cronus's rule. Yet, this victory came with a price. The prophecy that had driven Cronus to act would haunt him, as it foretold that he, too, would one day be overthrown by his own child. This first legend not only establishes Cronus as a figure of immense power, but also sets the stage for the themes of betrayal and fate that would define his reign. It's a story of ambition, fear, and the inescapable grip of destiny, a fitting introduction to the complex legacy of the Titan King. As we move forward, we'll see how this act of rebellion shaped Cronus's rule and set the wheels of fate in motion, leading to the rise of the Olympians and the eventual downfall of the Titans. But for now, let's reflect on this pivotal moment, the overthrow of Uranus, and how it forever changed the course of mythology. With the throne of the cosmos now firmly in his grasp, Cronus's reign as the king of the Titans seemed unshakable. But beneath the surface of his power lay a gnawing fear, a fear that would come to define his rule and shape the destiny of the gods. This brings us to the second legend of Cronus, a tale of paranoia, betrayal, and the birth of the Olympians. Cronus had not forgotten the prophecy that had driven him to overthrow his father, Uranus. The same prophecy that had promised him power also warned that he, too, would one day be overthrown by his own child. This chilling prediction haunted Cronus, filling him with a deep-seated dread. Determined to prevent this fate, he devised a ruthless plan. Each time his wife, Rhea, gave birth to a child, Chronos would snatch the newborn and swallow them whole, imprisoning them within his own body. One by one, Chronos consumed his children Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, and Poseidon. Each act was a desperate attempt to defy the prophecy, to secure his reign, and to silence the whispers of fate. But his actions were not without consequence. By swallowing his children, Chronos not only ensured their survival within him, but also sowed the seeds of his own downfall. However, Rhea, heartbroken and determined to save her children, devised a plan of her own. When her sixth child, Zeus, was born, she hid him away on the island of Crete, far from Cronos's reach. In his place, she presented Chronos with a stone wrapped in swaddling clothes, which he swallowed without question. Unbeknownst to Chronos, Zeus was raised in secret, nurtured by the nymphs and protected by the divine goat Amalthea. This act of deception marked the beginning of the end for Chronos. Zeus, growing stronger in the shadows, would one day return to challenge his father and free his siblings. The birth of Zeus and the survival of his siblings set the stage for the rise of the Olympians, a new generation of gods who would reshape the cosmos. Chronos's paranoia, though born of fear, ultimately became his undoing. His attempt to control fate only ensured its fulfillment, as the children he sought to destroy would become the architects of his downfall. This legend not only highlights the tragic flaws of Chronos, but also introduces the Olympians, whose stories would come to dominate Greek mythology. As we delve deeper into the legends of Chronos, we'll see how this act of desperation set the wheels of fate in motion, leading to the epic conflict between the Titans and the Olympians. But for now, let's reflect on the birth of Zeus and the pivotal role it played in shaping the future of the gods. Now, as we turn the page to the next chapter of Chronos' story, we find ourselves witnessing a moment of cunning and courage, a moment that would change the course of mythology forever. This is the tale of Rhea's clever deception, a pivotal act that not only saved her youngest son, but also set the stage for the rise of the Olympians. Rhea, heartbroken and weary from the loss of her children, could no longer bear to see Chronos' ruthless actions. Each time she gave birth, her joy was overshadowed by the dread of what would come next. But when she became pregnant with her sixth child, Rhea resolved to break the cycle. She sought the help of her parents, Gaia and Uranus, who shared her grief and anger over Chronos' tyranny. Together, they devised a plan to outwit the Titan king. When the time came for Rhea to give birth, she retreated to the island of Crete, far from Chronos' watchful eyes. There, in the safety of a hidden cave, she brought Zeus into the world. But this time, Rhea had no intention of handing her child over to Chronos. Instead, she wrapped a large stone in swaddling clothes, making it appear as though it were a newborn. With a heavy heart but unwavering determination, she returned to Chronos and presented him with the disguised stone. Chronos, consumed by his paranoia and blinded by his fear of the prophecy, did not question what he was given. Without hesitation, he swallowed the stone, believing it to be his latest child. Little did he know, Rhea's clever ruse had spared Zeus, ensuring his survival and setting in motion a chain of events that would lead to Chronos' downfall. Meanwhile, on Crete, Zeus was raised in secret by the nymphs and the divine goat Amalthea. Hidden away from his father's reach, he grew strong and wise, nurtured by the love and protection of those who believed in his destiny. This period of secrecy and preparation was crucial, as it allowed Zeus to develop the strength and cunning he would need to one day challenge Chronos and free his siblings. Rhea's trick was more than just an act of maternal love. It was a bold defiance of fate itself. By saving Zeus, she not only preserved the future of the Olympians, but also ensured that Chronos' reign would not last forever. Her cleverness and bravery became a cornerstone of Greek mythology, a testament to the power of wit and determination in the face of overwhelming odds. As we reflect on this legend, we see how Rhea's actions marked the beginning of Zeus's journey, a journey that would lead to the Titanomachy and the eventual rise of the Olympians. But for now, let's marvel at the ingenuity of Rhea, whose courage and cunning set the wheels of destiny in motion. As we move forward in the saga of Cronus, the tension reaches its peak with the outbreak of the Titanomachy, the great war that would decide the fate of the cosmos. This was no ordinary conflict, it was a clash of titanic proportions, pitting the old order against the new, with the very fabric of the universe hanging in the balance. On one side stood Cronus and the Titans, the rulers of the cosmos who had reigned supreme for generations. On the other side was Zeus, now fully grown and armed with the wisdom and strength he had gained during his years in hiding. Zeus had rallied his siblings Poseidon, Hades, Hera, Demeter, and Hestia, who had been freed from Cronus's stomach thanks to a potion given to him by Metis, the goddess of wisdom. Together, they formed the Olympians, a new generation of gods determined to overthrow their father and claim dominion over the world. The war was fierce and unrelenting, spanning 10 long years. The Titans, led by Cronus, fought with the ferocity of those desperate to hold onto power. They were joined by many of their siblings, including Atlas, who would later be punished by Zeus to hold up the sky. The Olympians, however, had a secret weapon, the Cyclopes and the Hecatoncheires, monstrous beings whom Cronus had once imprisoned in Tartarus. Zeus freed them, and in gratitude they forged his mighty thunderbolt, a weapon of unparalleled power. The battles were legendary, shaking the earth and sky alike. Zeus wielded his thunderbolt with devastating effect, while Poseidon unleashed earthquakes and tidal waves, and Hades used his helm of invisibility to strike unseen. The Hecatoncheires, with their 100 hands, hurled massive boulders at the Titans, and the Cyclopes provided the Olympians with weapons and armor. Despite their strength, the Titans were no match for the combined might of the Olympians and their allies. One of the most pivotal moments came when Zeus confronted Cronus directly. The father and son clashed in a duel that symbolized the struggle between the old and the new. With his thunderbolt, Zeus struck down Cronus, stripping him of his power and authority. The other Titans, seeing their leader defeated, began to falter. One by one, they were subdued, and the war came to an end with the Olympians victorious. The aftermath of the Titanomachy was profound. Cronus and the Titans were cast into Tartarus, a dark and desolate abyss far beneath the earth. There they were imprisoned for eternity, guarded by the Hecatoncheires. The Olympians, now the rulers of the cosmos, divided the world among themselves. Zeus took the sky, Poseidon the seas, and Hades the underworld. This war marked the end of the age of the Titans and the beginning of the reign of the Olympians. It was a turning point in Greek mythology, symbolizing the triumph of order over chaos and the inevitability of change. The Titanomachy remains one of the most epic and enduring tales of conflict in ancient lore, a testament to the power of unity, strategy, and the unyielding spirit of those who dare to challenge the status quo. As we reflect on this monumental struggle, we see how the actions of Zeus and his siblings reshaped the world, setting the stage for the myths and legends that would follow. But the story of Cronus is far from over. His legacy and the echoes of his reign would continue to influence the gods and mortals alike in ways that we will explore in the legends to come. With the dust of the Titanomachy settling, the fate of Cronus and his fellow Titans was sealed. Their defeat at the hands of Zeus and the Olympians marked not just the end of their reign, but the beginning of an eternal punishment that would echo through the ages. Cronus, once the mighty ruler of the cosmos, was now destined for Tartarus, a place so dark and desolate that it became synonymous with despair and suffering in Greek mythology. Tartarus was no ordinary prison. It was a vast, shadowy abyss located far beneath the earth, deeper even than Hades, the realm of the dead. This was a place reserved for the most grievous offenders, those who had challenged the natural order or defied the gods. The conditions in Tartarus were unimaginably harsh, a void of endless darkness, where the air was thick with the weight of despair and the cries of the damned. It was a realm devoid of hope, where time itself seemed to stand still, and the concept of freedom was nothing more than a distant memory. For Cronus and the Titans, Tartarus was both a physical and symbolic punishment. Their imprisonment was not just about confinement, it was a statement of their defeat and the triumph of the Olympians. The hecatoncheires, the 100-handed giants whom Cronus had once imprisoned, were now tasked with guarding the Titans, ensuring they could never escape. These monstrous beings, once victims of Cronus's tyranny, became the enforcers of his eternal sentence, a poetic twist of fate that underscored the cyclical nature of power and retribution in Greek mythology. The significance of Tartarus extended beyond its role as a prison. It represented the ultimate consequence of hubris and rebellion against the divine order. In the myths, Tartarus was often described as a place where the boundaries between life and death blurred, where the souls of the wicked were tormented for eternity. It served as a stark reminder to mortals and gods alike of the dangers of overreaching ambition and the inevitability of divine justice. Cronus's imprisonment in Tartarus also marked a turning point in the cosmic hierarchy. With the Titans removed from power, the Olympians solidified their rule, establishing a new order that would shape the myths and legends of ancient Greece. Yet, even in his eternal confinement, Cronus's legacy endured. His story became a cautionary tale, a reminder of the fragility of power and the consequences of fear and paranoia. As we delve deeper into the legends of Cronus, we see how his fall from grace and his imprisonment in Tartarus reflect the broader themes of Greek mythology: the struggle between order and chaos, the inevitability of change, and the enduring power of fate. But the story of Cronus does not end here. Even in the depths of Tartarus, his influence would continue to ripple through the myths, shaping the world of gods and mortals in ways that we will explore in the legends to come. As we shift our focus from the dark depths of Tartarus, we uncover a fascinating transformation in the legacy of Cronus, one that transcends his role as a defeated titan and connects him to a concept that governs all existence: time. Over the centuries, Cronus became increasingly associated with Chronos, the personification of time in Greek mythology. This merging of identities was not just a linguistic coincidence, but a profound evolution in how ancient cultures understood the passage of time and its inevitable power. The association between Cronus and time is deeply symbolic. In Greek mythology, Cronus's name was often conflated with Chronos, the primordial deity of time, who represented the unending, cyclical nature of existence. This connection was further emphasized by Cronus's role in the myths as a figure who both created and destroyed, embodying the relentless march of time that brings both growth and decay. The sickle he wielded to overthrow Uranus became a metaphor for the harvest of time, cutting down the old to make way for the new. This blending of Cronus and Chronos had a lasting impact on Roman mythology, where Cronus was reimagined as Saturn, the god of agriculture and time. The Romans celebrated Saturnalia, a festival in honor of Saturn, which symbolized the cyclical renewal of time and the return of light during the winter solstice. During this festival, social norms were temporarily overturned, and people reveled in the idea of time as a force that could both liberate and transform. Saturn's association with time also influenced Roman philosophical thought, particularly the concept of tempus edax rerum, time as the devourer of all things. In modern interpretations, the figure of Cronus as the god of time continues to resonate. His story has inspired countless works of art, literature, and philosophy, often serving as a metaphor for the inevitability of change and the passage of time. The image of Cronus devouring his children has been reinterpreted as a representation of time consuming all things, a reminder of the transient nature of life and the futility of resisting its flow. The legacy of Cronus as Chronos also finds its way into contemporary culture. from the symbolism of Father Time to the use of the hourglass as a representation of life's fleeting moments. His dual identity as both a titan and a personification of time underscores the complexity of his character, blending themes of power, fear, and inevitability into a single enduring myth. As we reflect on Cronos's transformation into the god of time, we see how his story transcends the boundaries of ancient mythology, offering timeless insights into the human experience. His connection to time reminds us of the cyclical nature of existence, the inevitability of change, and the enduring power of myth to shape our understanding of the world. And as we move forward, we'll explore how this multifaceted figure continues to influence the myths and legends that define our shared history. Now, let us step into a time of unparalleled harmony and abundance, the Golden Age of Cronus. This legendary era, often depicted as a utopian paradise, stands as one of the most cherished myths in Greek culture, symbolizing an idealized past where humanity lived in perfect balance with the world. Under Cronos's rule, the earth yielded its bounty effortlessly and peace reigned supreme. It was a time when labor was unnecessary, for the land provided all that was needed and strife was unknown. The Golden Age was marked by a profound connection between humans, nature, and the divine. Mortals lived in harmony with the gods, free from the burdens of old age, disease, and hardship. They spent their days in joy and contentment, their lives untouched by the struggles that would come to define later ages. This idyllic existence was not just a reflection of prosperity, but also a testament to Cronos's ability to maintain order and balance in the cosmos. His reign was seen as a golden standard, a fleeting moment in history when the world operated in perfect alignment. In Greek mythology, the Golden Age was the first of 5 ages of man, each progressively more flawed than the last. It was followed by the Silver, Bronze, Heroic, and Iron Ages, each representing a decline in virtue and an increase in human suffering. The Golden Age, therefore, became a powerful symbol of what humanity had lost, a reminder of a time when life was simpler, purer, and more fulfilling. This myth resonated deeply with ancient Greeks, who often looked back on the Golden Age as a benchmark for moral and societal ideals. The concept of the Golden Age also influenced Greek philosophy and literature. Thinkers like Hesiod and poets like Ovid immortalized this era in their works, using it as a lens to critique their own times. For them, the Golden Age was not just a myth but a metaphor for the potential of human society, a vision of what could be achieved if humanity returned to its roots of simplicity and virtue. Even today, the Golden Age of Cronus continues to inspire. It serves as a timeless reminder of humanity's longing for a better world, a place where peace and prosperity are not just dreams but realities. As we reflect on this mythical era, we are reminded of the enduring power of stories to shape our understanding of the past and our hopes for the future. And as we move forward, we'll explore how Cronos's legacy extends beyond this golden era, influencing the myths and legends that continue to captivate us. As we shift our focus from the idyllic Golden Age, let's explore another fascinating aspect of Cronos's legacy, his deep connection to agriculture and the harvest. This bond is symbolized by the sickle, the very tool he wielded to overthrow his father Uranus. The sickle, often associated with reaping and gathering, became a powerful emblem of Cronos's dominion over the cycles of nature. In Greek mythology, Cronos's use of the sickle was not just an act of rebellion but also a symbolic gesture that tied him to the earth's fertility. The sickle, a tool of harvest, represents the cutting away of the old to make way for the new, a theme that resonates deeply with the cycles of planting, growth, and reaping. This connection positions Cronos as a figure who not only ruled the cosmos but also governed the rhythms of the natural world. Cronos's association with agriculture extends beyond the sickle. His reign was often linked to the earth's abundance, as seen in the Golden Age, where the land flourished under his rule. This imagery reinforces his role as a guardian of fertility and growth, ensuring that the earth remained bountiful and life-sustaining. The harvest in this context becomes a metaphor for renewal and the perpetual cycle of life, death, and rebirth, a cycle that Cronus himself embodied through his rise and fall. The sickle also carries a dual meaning. While it symbolizes the harvest, it also serves as a reminder of Cronus's violent act against Uranus. This duality reflects the complex nature of Cronus's character, a ruler who brought both prosperity and upheaval. His connection to the harvest underscores the idea that creation and destruction are often intertwined, much like the seasons that bring both life and decay. This link between Cronus and agriculture also highlights the ancient Greeks' reverence for the natural world. They saw the cycles of planting and harvesting as sacred, governed by divine forces. Cronus, as a god of time and the harvest, embodied these forces, ensuring that the earth's rhythms were maintained. His story reminds us of humanity's dependence on nature and the delicate balance required to sustain life. As we delve deeper into Cronus's myths, his connection to the harvest offers a fresh perspective on his role in Greek mythology. It reveals a figure deeply intertwined with the earth's cycles, a ruler whose legacy is as much about nurturing as it is about power. And as we move forward, we'll uncover how this connection to nature influenced other aspects of his story, shaping the myths that continue to captivate us. Now let's turn our attention to a pivotal moment in Cronus's story, a prophecy that would shape his actions and ultimately seal his fate. This prophecy, delivered by the goddess Metis, foretold that one of Cronus's own children would rise to overthrow him, just as he had done to his father Uranus. This ominous prediction struck fear into the heart of the Titan king, igniting a paranoia that would drive him to make one of the most infamous decisions in Greek mythology. Cronus, haunted by the prophecy, became consumed by the fear of losing his power. To prevent the prophecy from coming true, he resorted to a drastic and horrifying measure, swallowing each of his children as soon as they were born. This act, born of desperation, reveals the depth of Cronus's fear and his willingness to go to any lengths to maintain his rule. Yet, as we'll see, even the most extreme measures cannot escape the grip of fate. The prophecy of Metis serves as a powerful reminder of the inevitability of destiny in Greek mythology. Cronus's attempt to defy fate only set the stage for his eventual downfall. By swallowing his children, he believed he could control the future, but in doing so, he unknowingly set in motion the very events that would lead to his defeat. This tragic irony underscores the theme that fate cannot be outrun or outmaneuvered, no matter how powerful one may be. Metis, the goddess of wisdom and cunning, played a crucial role in this unfolding drama. Her prophecy not only foreshadowed Cronus's downfall, but also highlighted the importance of wisdom and strategy in overcoming brute force. It was Metis who later advised Zeus, Cronus's youngest son, on how to free his siblings and challenge his father. Her influence demonstrates that intelligence and foresight often triumph over sheer power, a lesson that resonates throughout the myths of the Titans and Olympians. Cronus's reaction to the prophecy also reveals his tragic flaw, his inability to trust or accept the natural order of things. His paranoia and fear of losing power blinded him to the consequences of his actions, leading him to make choices that would ultimately bring about his ruin. This aspect of his character makes him a deeply human figure despite his divine status, as his struggles with fear and control mirror the challenges faced by mortals. The prophecy of Metis is more than just a prediction, it's a turning point in Cronus's story, marking the beginning of his decline. It sets the stage for the rise of Zeus and the Olympians, who would go on to reshape the cosmos. As we continue to explore Cronus's legends, this prophecy serves as a reminder that even the mightiest rulers are subject to the forces of fate, and that every action, no matter how desperate, carries consequences that cannot be undone. With this in mind, let's move forward to uncover how Cronus's paranoia and the prophecies' fulfillment would shape the next chapter of his story, a chapter filled with rebellion, betrayal, and the ultimate clash between the old order and the new. Now, let's shift our focus to the family dynamics that shaped Cronus's reign, his siblings, the other Titans. These powerful beings were not just his brothers and sisters, but also key players in the cosmic drama of Greek mythology. Together, they formed the backbone of the Titan order, each contributing to the balance or imbalance of power during Cronus's rule. Chronos was one of 12 Titans born to Uranus, the sky, and Gaia, the earth. His siblings included Oceanus, the god of the great river encircling the earth, Hyperion, the Titan of light, and Themis, the embodiment of divine law and order. Each of these Titans held dominion over a fundamental aspect of the cosmos, and their collective strength made them a formidable force. Among Cronus's siblings, some stood by his side, while others harbored resentment or remained neutral. For instance, Oceanus, though a Titan, chose not to take sides during the Titanomachy, the great war between the Titans and the Olympians. His decision to remain aloof highlights the complex relationships within the Titan family, where loyalty was not always guaranteed. On the other hand, Titans like Hyperion and Iapetus actively supported Cronus during his reign and the subsequent war. Hyperion, associated with the sun and light, symbolized the brilliance and power of the Titans, while Iapetus, often linked to mortality and human life, represented the darker, more enigmatic aspects of their rule. These alliances were crucial in maintaining Cronus's dominance, at least for a time. However, not all of Cronus's siblings were content with his leadership. Themis, the Titaness of justice, played a unique role. While she did not openly oppose Cronus, her association with divine law and prophecy suggests she may have foreseen his eventual downfall. Her presence in the myths serves as a reminder that even among the Titans, there were forces that recognized the inevitability of change. The relationships between Cronus and his siblings were further complicated by their shared history. Together, they had overthrown their father, Uranus, at the urging of their mother, Gaia. This act of rebellion united them, but it also sowed the seeds of future conflict. The same ambition that drove Cronus to seize power would later pit him against his own children, the Olympians, in a struggle that would redefine the cosmos. As we delve deeper into the Titanomachy, it becomes clear that Cronus's siblings were more than just background figures. They were integral to the rise and fall of the Titans, their actions and choices shaping the course of the war. Some fought fiercely to preserve the old order, while others, like Oceanus, chose to step back, perhaps sensing the winds of change. This intricate web of alliances and rivalries among the Titans underscores the complexity of Cronus's reign. It also highlights the broader theme of Greek mythology that power is never absolute, and even the mightiest beings are subject to the forces of fate, loyalty, and betrayal. With this understanding of Cronus's siblings and their roles, we can now explore how these dynamics played out during the Titanomachy, the epic clash that would determine the fate of the Titans and the rise of the Olympians. Now, let's turn our attention to one of the most intriguing aspects of Cronus's rule, his relationship with the Cyclopes and the Hecatoncheires. These beings, born from the union of Uranus and Gaia, were not just powerful but also deeply feared by Cronus. Their immense strength and unique abilities made them a potential threat to his reign, and his decision to imprison them reveals much about his paranoia and desire to maintain control. The Cyclopes, known for their single eye and unmatched skill in crafting, were the creators of Zeus's thunderbolts, Poseidon's trident, and Hades's helmet of invisibility. Their craftsmanship was legendary, and their creations would later play a pivotal role in the Titanomachy. The Hecatoncheires, on the other hand, were even more formidable. With their 100 hands and 50 heads, they were forces of chaos and destruction, capable of overwhelming even the mightiest of foes. Cronus, ever wary of any challenge to his authority, saw these beings as too dangerous to remain free. After overthrowing Uranus, he imprisoned the Cyclopes and the Hecatoncheires in the depths of Tartarus, the darkest and most remote part of the underworld. This act was not just about securing his power, but also about eliminating any potential rivals who could threaten his rule. However, Cronos's decision to imprison them would come back to haunt him. When Zeus, his youngest son, grew to adulthood and began his quest to overthrow his father, he sought allies wherever he could find them. Recognizing the value of the Cyclopes and the Hecatoncheires, Zeus ventured into Tartarus and freed them from their chains. This act of liberation earned him their loyalty and gratitude, and they would prove to be invaluable in the coming war. The Cyclopes, with their unparalleled skill, forged the weapons that would turn the tide of the Titanomachy. Zeus's thunderbolts, in particular, became a symbol of his power and a key tool in his battle against the Titans. Meanwhile, the Hecatoncheires, with their overwhelming strength, joined the fray, hurling massive boulders and unleashing chaos upon Cronos's forces. Their presence on the battlefield was a game-changer, tipping the scales in favor of the Olympians. Chronos's imprisonment of the Cyclopes and the Hecatoncheires was a calculated move to secure his dominance, but it ultimately backfired. By alienating these powerful beings, he created enemies who would play a crucial role in his downfall. Their release by Zeus not only shifted the balance of power, but also highlighted the importance of alliances in the struggle for supremacy. This chapter in Cronos's story serves as a reminder that even the most carefully laid plans can unravel when fear and mistrust guide one's actions. His imprisonment of the Cyclopes and the Hecatoncheires was a desperate attempt to cling to power, but it only hastened his defeat. As we move forward, we'll see how these events set the stage for the final showdown between the Titans and the Olympians, a conflict that would reshape the cosmos forever. Now, let's take a closer look at one of the most pivotal moments in Cronos's rise to power, the castration of Uranus. This act, brutal and symbolic, not only marked the end of Uranus's reign, but also set the stage for the birth of a new order in the cosmos. To understand its significance, we need to revisit the events that led to this dramatic turning point. Uranus, the sky god and father of the Titans, had grown increasingly tyrannical. Fearing the power of his own children, he imprisoned them within Gaia, the earth goddess, causing her immense pain. Gaia, desperate to free her offspring, devised a plan. She crafted a sickle from adamant, the hardest material known, and approached her youngest son, Chronos, with a daring proposition. She urged him to overthrow his father and take his place as ruler of the cosmos. Chronos, driven by ambition and a desire to end his father's cruelty, agreed. When Uranus descended to lie with Gaia, Chronos emerged from hiding and with a single swift motion castrated his father. This act was not merely an act of violence, it was a cosmic event that reshaped the world. From the blood that spilled onto the earth, powerful beings were born, including the Furies, the giants, and the Melii, the nymphs of the ash trees. Meanwhile, Uranus's severed genitals, cast into the sea, gave rise to Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty. Symbolically, the castration of Uranus represents the separation of the sky from the earth, a necessary step for the creation of order in the universe. Before this act, the sky and earth were locked in an eternal embrace, leaving no space for life to flourish. By severing this connection, Chronos created the conditions for the world as we know it to exist. This act also marked the transition from the primordial chaos of Uranus's rule to the structured, albeit imperfect, order of Cronos's reign. The impact of this event reverberated throughout Greek mythology. It established Chronos as the new ruler of the Titans, but it also sowed the seeds of his eventual downfall. The prophecy that Chronos would be overthrown by his own child, much like he had overthrown his father, haunted him throughout his reign. This cycle of power and betrayal became a recurring theme in Greek mythology, reflecting the ancient Greeks' understanding of the inevitability of change and the fragility of authority. The castration of Uranus is more than just a violent act. It's a story of transformation, both literal and symbolic. It highlights the tension between creation and destruction, order and chaos, and the cyclical nature of power. As we continue to explore Cronus's legends, we'll see how this moment shaped not only his destiny but also the fate of the cosmos itself. With the cosmos now under his control, Cronus began his reign as the supreme ruler of the universe. This period marked a significant shift from the chaotic rule of Uranus to a more structured, though still flawed, order. As the leader of the Titans, Cronus established a hierarchy among his siblings, assigning them roles and responsibilities that maintained balance across the heavens, the earth, and the seas. His rule was characterized by a mix of strength and fear, as he sought to consolidate his power while remaining wary of the prophecy that foretold his downfall. Cronus's governance was not without its achievements. Under his rule, the world experienced a semblance of stability, allowing life to flourish in ways that had been impossible during Uranus's oppressive reign. The separation of the sky from the earth, a direct result of his overthrow of Uranus, created the necessary space for growth and development. This act of cosmic division laid the foundation for the natural cycles of day and night, seasons, and the rhythms of life itself. However, Cronus's paranoia cast a shadow over his reign. Fearful of losing his throne, he became increasingly tyrannical, especially toward his own children. His decision to swallow each of his offspring at birth, driven by the prophecy that one of them would overthrow him, revealed the darker side of his rule. This act of desperation not only strained his relationship with his wife, Rhea, but also sowed the seeds of rebellion among the younger generation of gods. Despite these flaws, Cronus's reign played a crucial role in shaping the world that would later be inherited by the Olympians. His actions, both constructive and destructive, set the stage for the eventual rise of Zeus and the other Olympian gods. The structures and systems he established during his rule, though imperfect, provided a framework that the Olympians would later refine and expand upon. Cronus's time as ruler of the cosmos serves as a reminder of the complexities of power and leadership. His reign was marked by both progress and fear, creation and destruction, reflecting the dual nature of authority itself. As we move forward in our exploration of Cronus's legends, we'll see how his rule ultimately paved the way for a new era in Greek mythology, one defined by the rise of the Olympians and the fall of the Titans. Now, as we turn our attention to the forces that shaped Cronus's rise, we cannot overlook the pivotal role of Gaia, the primordial goddess of the earth. Gaia's influence was instrumental in both the prophecy that set Cronus on his path and the actions that followed. It was she who first foresaw the downfall of Uranus and sought to end his oppressive rule. Displeased with Uranus's cruelty and his imprisonment of her children, the Cyclopes and the Hecatoncheires, Gaia devised a plan to overthrow him. She crafted a sickle from the hardest stone and presented it to Cronus, urging him to take action against his father. This act of rebellion was not just a personal vendetta but a cosmic necessity. As Gaia sought to restore balance to the world, Gaia's role extended beyond the physical act of overthrowing Uranus. She was the architect of the prophecy that haunted Cronus throughout his reign. It was she who warned him that one of his own children would rise to overthrow him, just as he had done to his father. This prophecy, while a source of fear for Cronus, also served as a reminder of the cyclical nature of power in Greek mythology. Gaia's foresight and her willingness to challenge the status quo highlight her as a figure of immense wisdom and strength, a force of nature who shaped the destiny of gods and mortals alike. Her support for Cronus was not unconditional. Gaia's actions were driven by a desire to protect her children and to ensure the survival of the natural order. When Cronus later imprisoned the Cyclopes and Hecatoncheires, Gaia's loyalty shifted. She began to support Zeus, her grandson, in his quest to overthrow Cronus, demonstrating her commitment to justice over familial ties. This duality in her actions reveals the complexity of Gaia's character. She was both a nurturer and a destroyer, a creator and a catalyst for change. Gaia's influence on Cronus's rise to power underscores the interconnectedness of the divine and the natural world. Her actions set the stage for the rise of the Titans and ultimately the Olympians, shaping the course of Greek mythology. As we continue to explore the legends of Cronus, we'll see how Gaia's legacy reverberates through the stories of gods and mortals, a testament to her enduring power and significance. Now, as we delve deeper into the intricate web of Cronus's life, we come to one of the most compelling relationships in his story, his bond with Rhea. Cronus and Rhea's union was more than just a marriage, it was a partnership that shaped the fate of the cosmos. Rhea, a Titaness in her own right, stood by Cronus as he rose to power, but their relationship was far from simple. It was marked by love, fear, and ultimately betrayal, a dynamic that would forever alter the course of mythology. At the heart of their relationship was a shared destiny. Rhea, like Cronus, was a child of Uranus and Gaia, making her both his sister and his queen. Together, they ruled during the Golden Age, a time of peace and prosperity. Yet, beneath the surface of their seemingly harmonious rule lay a deep-seated fear, the prophecy that one of their children would overthrow Cronus just as he had done to his father. This fear consumed Cronus, driving him to make a fateful decision, to swallow each of his children at birth, ensuring they could never challenge his power. Rhea's role in this tragic cycle cannot be overstated. As a mother, she endured the heartbreak of losing her children one by one, powerless to stop Cronus's actions. But Rhea was not one to accept her fate without a fight. When it came time to give birth to Zeus, her youngest, she devised a plan to save him. With the help of Gaia, Rhea tricked Cronus by presenting him with a stone wrapped in swaddling clothes, which he swallowed instead of the infant Zeus. This act of deception was both a betrayal and a triumph, a mother's desperate attempt to protect her child and a pivotal moment in the struggle for power among the gods. The themes of trust and betrayal are central to Cronus and Rhea's story. Cronus's actions were driven by his fear of losing power, a fear that ultimately eroded the trust between him and his wife. Rhea, on the other hand, was motivated by love and a desire to protect her children, even if it meant betraying her husband. This tension between loyalty and self-preservation is a recurring theme in Greek mythology, reflecting the complexities of human relationships and the sacrifices often required to challenge oppressive forces. As we reflect on Cronus and Rhea's relationship, we see a tale of love turned to mistrust, of unity fractured by fear. Their story serves as a reminder of the fragile nature of power and the lengths to which individuals will go to protect what they hold dear. And as we move forward, we'll see how Rhea's actions set the stage for the rise of Zeus and the eventual downfall of Cronus, marking the beginning of a new era in the divine order. Now, as we shift our focus to the tools of power and their deeper meanings, we arrive at one of the most iconic symbols in Cronus's story, the sickle. This simple yet profound instrument is far more than just a farming tool. It is a symbol of Cronus's authority, his violent rise to power, and his connection to the cycles of nature. The sickle first appears in the myth of Cronus's overthrow of Uranus. At the urging of his mother Gaia, Cronus used a sickle to castrate his father, an act that not only freed his siblings but also marked the beginning of his reign as the king of the Titans. The sickle, in this context, becomes a symbol of rebellion and transformation, a tool that severed the old order and ushered in a new era. Its sharp edge represents the decisive and often brutal nature of power, reminding us that the path to dominance is rarely gentle. But the sickle's significance doesn't end there. In later myths, it becomes associated with the harvest, symbolizing fertility, abundance, and the cyclical nature of life. Cronus, as a god connected to agriculture, embodies this duality, both a destroyer and a sustainer. The sickle's curved blade mirrors the cycles of the seasons, cutting down the old to make way for the new. This duality reflects the complexity of Cronus's character, a ruler who brought both prosperity and fear. The recurring presence of the sickle in Cronus's myths also highlights its role as a symbol of inevitability. Just as the harvest must come, so too must the rise and fall of rulers. Cronus's use of the sickle to overthrow Uranus foreshadows his own eventual downfall at the hands of Zeus, a reminder that no power is eternal. The sickle, then, becomes a metaphor for the inescapable cycles of time and fate, themes that resonate deeply in Greek mythology. As we examine the symbolism of the sickle, we see how it encapsulates the essence of Cronus's story, his rise, his reign, and his fall. It is a tool of creation and destruction, a reminder of the delicate balance between power and vulnerability. And as we move forward, we'll explore how this symbol continues to shape the myths and legends that surround the King of the Titans, offering us a deeper understanding of his legacy and the world he once ruled. Now, as we journey from the world of Greek mythology into the realm of Roman culture, we encounter a fascinating transformation of Cronus into the figure of Saturn. While the stories may shift and adapt, the essence of this powerful deity remains deeply rooted in themes of time, harvest, and the cycles of life. In Roman mythology, Cronus becomes Saturn, a god who embodies many of the same traits but is reimagined within the context of Roman values and traditions. Saturn is often depicted as a more benevolent figure, associated with agriculture, wealth, and a golden age of peace and prosperity. This shift in tone reflects the Roman emphasis on stability, order, and the nurturing aspects of leadership, contrasting with the more tumultuous and violent narratives of Cronus in Greek mythology. One of the most significant differences lies in Saturn's role as the god of the Saturnalia festival, a time of celebration, feasting, and social equality. During this festival, the usual hierarchies of Roman society were temporarily overturned, with masters serving their slaves and gifts exchanged freely. This celebration of Saturn's reign as a time of abundance and harmony stands in stark contrast to Cronus's rule, which was marked by fear and paranoia. The Saturnalia festival highlights how the Romans reinterpreted Cronus's legacy, focusing on the positive aspects of his connection to agriculture and the cycles of nature. Despite these differences, the core elements of Saturn's mythology remain tied to Cronus's story. Like Cronus, Saturn is associated with the concept of time, often depicted holding a sickle, a symbol that bridges both Greek and Roman traditions. This connection underscores the enduring influence of Cronus's myths, even as they were adapted to fit the cultural and spiritual needs of the Roman people. The Romans also revered Saturn as the father of Jupiter, the Roman equivalent of Zeus. This relationship mirrors the Greek myth of Chronos and Zeus, but with a key difference. Saturn's eventual overthrow by Jupiter is portrayed as a necessary step in the establishment of a just and orderly cosmos. In this way, the Romans reframed the conflict between father and son as a transition from chaos to stability, aligning it with their ideals of governance and divine order. As we explore the Roman adaptation of Cronus into Saturn, we see how myths evolved to reflect the values and priorities of different cultures. Saturn's legacy in Roman mythology offers a unique perspective on Cronus's story, blending the familiar with the new to create a deity who embodies both the fears and aspirations of the Roman world. And as we continue, we'll uncover even more layers of Cronus's enduring influence, tracing his presence through art, philosophy, and the timeless cycles of myth. With the echoes of the Titanomachy still resonating, we now turn our attention to the fate of the Titans, a chapter that marks the end of their reign and the beginning of a new cosmic order. The aftermath of this epic war was nothing short of transformative, reshaping the balance of power in the ancient world and sealing the destiny of Cronus and his kin. Following their defeat at the hands of Zeus and the Olympians, Chronos and the Titans were cast into the depths of Tartarus, a dark and desolate abyss reserved for the most formidable of foes. This imprisonment was not merely a physical confinement but a symbolic one, representing the fall of the old order and the rise of the Olympians as the new rulers of the cosmos. Tartarus, often described as a place of eternal torment, became the final resting place for these once mighty beings, their power now bound by the chains of their defeat. Yet the story of the Titans did not end with their imprisonment. In later myths, we find occasional glimpses of their presence, hinting at their enduring influence even in captivity. Some tales suggest that Chronos and a few of the Titans were eventually released, either through the intervention of Zeus or as part of a broader reconciliation between the old and new gods. These stories often depict Chronos as a more subdued figure, no longer the fearsome ruler of the Titans but a symbol of a bygone era, his legacy intertwined with the cycles of time and the inevitability of change. Other Titans, however, remained in Tartarus, their names fading into obscurity as the Olympians solidified their dominance. Yet, even in their absence, the Titans' impact on mythology persisted. Their struggles and triumphs continued to inspire tales of rebellion, resilience, and the eternal tension between order and chaos. The Titans' imprisonment in Tartarus also served as a cautionary tale, a reminder of the consequences of hubris and the relentless march of time. As we reflect on the fate of the Titans, we see how their story transcends mere myth, offering profound insights into the nature of power, transformation, and the cyclical nature of existence. Their fall marked the end of one era and the dawn of another, a transition that continues to captivate and inspire. And as we move forward, we'll explore how Chronos' legacy and that of the Titans reverberates through art, culture, and the timeless narratives of human imagination. Now, as we shift our focus to the realm of art, we uncover how Chronos' legacy has been immortalized through the hands of ancient creators. From intricate pottery to towering sculptures, the depictions of Chronos offer a fascinating glimpse into how the ancients viewed this complex figure. In ancient Greek pottery, Chronos often appears wielding his iconic sickle, a symbol of both his power and his violent rise to dominance. These scenes frequently capture the moment of his rebellion against Uranus, emphasizing the raw, primal energy of the act. The artists of the time used bold lines and vivid imagery to convey the intensity of this pivotal event, ensuring that Chronos' role as a disruptor of the old order was never forgotten. Moving to sculpture, we find Chronos portrayed in a more regal light, often seated or standing with an air of authority. These statues, carved from marble or cast in bronze, reflect his status as the ruler of the Titans. Yet, even in these grand representations, there's often a subtle tension, a reminder of the paranoia and fear that ultimately led to his downfall. The craftsmanship of these works highlights not only Chronos' physical strength, but also the psychological complexity that made him such a compelling figure in mythology. One particularly striking example is the depiction of Chronos in Roman art, where he is often conflated with Saturn, the god of time. Here, he is shown with a more serene demeanor, holding a sickle in one hand and a sheaf of wheat in the other, symbolizing both his agricultural ties and his association with the passage of time. This dual imagery reflects the Romans' reverence for Chronos as a figure of abundance and renewal, even as they acknowledged his darker aspects. Through these artistic representations, we see how Chronos' story was not just told through words but also through the visual language of art. Each piece serves as a testament to his enduring influence, capturing the many facets of his character, his power, his fear, and his ultimate transformation into a symbol of time and change. As we continue to explore Chronos' legacy, we'll next delve into how his myths have shaped modern culture, revealing how this ancient titan continues to inspire and captivate us today. Turning our gaze to the present, we find that Chronos' legacy has not faded with time, but has instead woven itself into the fabric of modern culture. His myths, rich with themes of power, rebellion, and transformation, continue to inspire storytellers across literature, film, and television, proving that the tales of this ancient titan remain as compelling today as they were thousands of years ago. In literature, Cronus often serves as a symbol of the old order, a figure whose downfall marks the rise of something new. Authors draw on his story to explore themes of generational conflict, the cyclical nature of power, and the inevitability of change. For instance, in contemporary fantasy novels, characters inspired by Cronus frequently embody the tension between tradition and progress, their struggles mirroring the timeless battle between the Titans and the Olympians. The world of film and television has also embraced Cronus's mythos, reimagining his story in ways that resonate with modern audiences. In epic fantasy series and blockbuster films, Cronus-like figures often appear as formidable antagonists, their immense power and tragic flaws making them both fearsome and relatable. These adaptations frequently highlight his role as a father figure whose fear of being overthrown drives him to extreme actions, a narrative that adds depth and complexity to his character. Even in animated works and children's programming, Cronus's influence can be seen. His story is often simplified but retains its core themes, teaching young audiences about the consequences of fear and the importance of resilience. Through these adaptations, Cronus becomes a gateway to exploring deeper philosophical questions in a way that is accessible and engaging. Beyond entertainment, Cronus's myths have also found their way into modern art and music, where his story is reinterpreted through various mediums. Visual artists draw on his imagery to create works that reflect on the passage of time and the inevitability of change, while musicians use his tale as a metaphor for personal and societal transformation. As we reflect on Cronus's enduring presence in modern culture, it's clear that his story is far from static. Each retelling adds new layers to his myth, ensuring that his legacy continues to evolve and inspire. With this in mind, we now turn to a deeper exploration of Cronus's psychological dimensions, examining how his actions and fears reveal timeless truths about human nature. Now, let's delve into the psychological depths of Cronus, examining his actions through the lens of human behavior and emotion. Cronus's decision to swallow his children is one of the most striking and unsettling aspects of his myth, but it also offers a fascinating window into the complexities of his psyche. At its core, this act reveals a profound fear of losing power, a fear so consuming that it drove him to extreme and destructive measures. From a psychological perspective, Cronus's actions can be seen as a manifestation of deep-seated paranoia. The prophecy that one of his children would overthrow him planted a seed of doubt that grew into an all-consuming obsession. This fear of being replaced, of losing control, is a theme that resonates with many, as it reflects a universal human struggle with insecurity and the desire for stability. Cronus's response, swallowing his children, was an attempt to eliminate the threat before it could materialize, a desperate bid to maintain his dominance at any cost. This behavior also highlights the corrupting influence of power. Cronus, once a liberator who freed his siblings from their father's tyranny, became a tyrant himself, consumed by the very fear he sought to escape. His actions demonstrate how power, when wielded without empathy or restraint, can distort one's sense of morality and lead to self-destructive choices. The psychological toll of this transformation is evident in his increasing isolation and the erosion of trust within his family, particularly with his wife, Rhea. Cronus's story also invites us to consider the cyclical nature of fear and violence. His own rise to power was marked by violence, the castration of his father, Uranus, and his downfall was similarly violent as he was overthrown by his son, Zeus. This cycle suggests that fear and aggression, when left unchecked, can perpetuate themselves across generations, creating a legacy of conflict and mistrust. Yet, there is also a tragic dimension to Cronus's psychology. His actions, while horrifying, stem from a place of vulnerability. The fear of being replaced, of becoming irrelevant, is a deeply human concern, one that many can relate to on some level. In this way, Cronus becomes a cautionary figure, reminding us of the dangers of letting fear dictate our actions and the importance of confronting our insecurities rather than allowing them to control us. As we reflect on Cronus's psychological profile, it becomes clear that his story is not just a tale of gods and titans, but a mirror reflecting timeless truths about human nature. His struggles with fear, power, and paranoia resonate across the ages, offering valuable insights into the complexities of the human condition. With this understanding, we now turn to another layer of Cronus's myth, exploring his connection to the concept of time and how it has shaped his legacy. Now, let's shift our focus to a fascinating aspect of Cronus's legacy, his association with time. While Cronus is best known as the king of the Titans, his name has become deeply intertwined with the concept of time, particularly through the Greek word chronos, which means time. This connection has had a profound impact on both philosophical and scientific thought, shaping how we understand the passage of time and its role in the universe. Cronus's link to time is rooted in the idea of cycles and inevitability. Just as Cronus overthrew his father, Uranus, and was later overthrown by his son, Zeus, time itself is often seen as a force that moves in cycles: birth, growth, decay, and renewal. This cyclical view of time was central to ancient Greek philosophy, where the natural world was understood as a series of repeating patterns, from the changing seasons to the rise and fall of civilizations. Cronus, as a symbol of time, embodies this endless cycle, reminding us that all things are subject to change and transformation. In later interpretations, particularly in Roman mythology, Cronus became associated with Saturn, a god often linked to agriculture and the harvest. This connection further emphasized the idea of time as a cyclical force, tied to the rhythms of nature. The Romans celebrated Saturnalia, a festival honoring Saturn, which marked the end of the agricultural year and the beginning of a new cycle. This celebration reflected the belief that time, like the seasons, moves in a continuous loop, bringing both endings and new beginnings. The association between Cronus and time also influenced early scientific thought. Ancient philosophers like Heraclitus and Aristotle explored the nature of time, often drawing on mythological concepts to explain their ideas. Heraclitus, for instance, famously said, "You cannot step into the same river twice," a statement that echoes the idea of time as an ever-flowing, ever-changing force. Aristotle, on the other hand, saw time as a measure of change, a concept that aligns with Cronus's role as a figure of transformation and transition. In modern times, the connection between Cronus and time has continued to inspire thinkers across disciplines. The word chronology, derived from chronos, is used to describe the study of time and historical sequences. Similarly, terms like chronometer and synchronize reflect the enduring influence of Cronus's legacy on our understanding of time. Even in literature and art, Cronus often appears as a symbol of time's relentless march, a reminder of the inevitability of change and the fleeting nature of existence. As we explore Cronus's association with time, it becomes clear that his myth transcends the boundaries of ancient storytelling. It offers a lens through which we can examine the nature of time itself, its cycles, its inevitability, and its profound impact on human life. With this understanding, we now turn to another layer of Cronus's story, examining how prophecies shaped his actions and decisions, leading to his eventual downfall. Now, let's delve into the pivotal role that prophecies played in shaping Cronus's life, from his rise to power to his ultimate downfall. Prophecies were not just whispers of the future in Greek mythology. They were powerful forces that drove the actions of gods and mortals alike, and Cronus was no exception. His story is deeply intertwined with the weight of fate, as prophecies guided his decisions, fueled his fears, and ultimately sealed his destiny. The first prophecy that shaped Cronus's life came from his mother, Gaia, the earth goddess. She foretold that Uranus, Chronos' father, would be overthrown by one of his own children. This prophecy set the stage for Chronos' rise to power as it gave him the motivation to act. Armed with a sickle provided by Gaia, Chronos castrated Uranus, freeing his siblings and claiming the throne of the Titans. This act was not just a moment of rebellion, it was a fulfillment of the prophecy, marking the beginning of Chronos' reign and his belief in the inevitability of fate. However, the same force that propelled Chronos to power also sowed the seeds of his downfall. After becoming the ruler of the cosmos, Chronos received another prophecy, this time from Gaia and Uranus. They warned him that he, too, would be overthrown by one of his own children. This prediction haunted Chronos, filling him with paranoia and driving him to take drastic measures. To prevent the prophecy from coming true, he swallowed each of his children as soon as they were born, imprisoning them within himself. This act of desperation reveals how deeply Chronos was influenced by the fear of losing his power, a fear rooted in the certainty of the prophecy. Yet, as we've seen in earlier legends, prophecies in Greek mythology are rarely so easily avoided. Chronos' wife, Rhea, managed to save their youngest son, Zeus, by tricking Chronos into swallowing a stone instead. Zeus would grow up in secret, eventually fulfilling the prophecy by overthrowing his father and freeing his siblings. This turn of events underscores a recurring theme in Greek myths. No matter how powerful a figure may be, they cannot escape the will of the fates. Chronos' attempts to defy the prophecy only ensured its fulfillment, highlighting the futility of resisting destiny. The role of prophecy in Chronos' life extends beyond his personal story. It reflects the broader Greek belief in the inevitability of fate. Prophecies were seen as unchangeable truths, woven into the fabric of the universe by the Moirai, the three goddesses of fate. Chronos' actions, driven by fear and a desire to control his destiny, ultimately reveal the limits of power and the inescapable nature of fate. His story serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of hubris and the futility of trying to outrun one's destiny. As we reflect on the role of prophecy in Chronos' life, it's clear that these predictions were more than just plot devices. They were central to his character and the unfolding of his myth. They shaped his decisions, defined his fears, and ultimately led to his downfall. With this understanding, we now turn to another intriguing aspect of Chronos' story, his lesser-known children and their roles in mythology, shedding light on the broader legacy of the King of the Titans. While Chronos is most famously known as the father of the Olympian gods, his legacy extends far beyond Zeus, Hera, and their siblings. Among his lesser-known children is Chiron, the wise and immortal centaur, whose story offers a fascinating glimpse into the broader impact of Chronos' lineage. Unlike the violent and chaotic nature often associated with centaurs, Chiron stood apart as a figure of wisdom, healing, and mentorship. Born from Chronos' union with the nymph Lyra, Chiron's unique origins set him on a path that would make him one of the most revered beings in Greek mythology. Chiron's role as a teacher and healer is central to his myth. He was known for his vast knowledge of medicine, music, and the arts, and he became a mentor to many of the greatest heroes of Greek legend. Among his pupils were Achilles, Jason, and Heracles, each of whom benefited from Chiron's guidance and wisdom. His ability to nurture and educate these heroes highlights a softer, more compassionate side of Chronos' legacy, contrasting sharply with the Titan's own destructive tendencies. Another intriguing aspect of Chiron's story is his immortality, which became both a blessing and a curse. After being accidentally wounded by a poisoned arrow from Heracles, Chiron suffered unbearable pain. Unable to die due to his immortal nature, he eventually chose to relinquish his immortality, trading it with Prometheus to end his suffering. This act of self-sacrifice further cements Chiron's role as a symbol of wisdom and compassion, qualities that stand in stark contrast to the fear and paranoia that defined Chronos' reign. Beyond Chiron, Cronus's other lesser-known children also played significant roles in mythology. For instance, the nymphs and spirits born from his unions with various goddesses and nymphs often served as guardians of nature or intermediaries between gods and mortals. These figures, though not as prominent as the Olympians, contributed to the rich tapestry of Greek mythology, showcasing the far-reaching influence of Cronus's lineage. As we explore these lesser-known children of Cronus, it becomes clear that his legacy is not confined to the dramatic rise and fall of the Olympians. Instead, his descendants embody a wide range of traits, from wisdom and healing to guardianship and mentorship, reflecting the complexity of his character and the enduring impact of his bloodline. With this in mind, let's now turn our attention to how Cronus's actions and reign influenced his most famous son, Zeus, shaping the future of the gods and the cosmos itself. Now, as we shift our focus to the relationship between Cronus and his most famous son, Zeus, we uncover a fascinating dynamic that shaped the very foundation of the Olympian era. Cronus's reign, marked by fear, paranoia, and the ruthless pursuit of power, left an indelible mark on Zeus, influencing how he would come to rule the cosmos. Cronus's actions, particularly his decision to swallow his children to avoid a prophecy of being overthrown, served as a cautionary tale for Zeus. Witnessing the destructive consequences of his father's paranoia, Zeus learned the dangers of ruling through fear and mistrust. This lesson would profoundly shape his approach to leadership, steering him toward a more balanced and strategic form of governance. Unlike Cronus, who sought to eliminate potential threats, Zeus embraced alliances and diplomacy, understanding that unity among the gods was essential to maintaining order. Another key influence was Cronus's downfall itself. The Titanomachy, the great war between the Titans and the Olympians, taught Zeus the importance of strength, strategy, and the support of allies. Cronus's reliance on brute force and his inability to adapt ultimately led to his defeat, a mistake Zeus was determined not to repeat. Instead, Zeus cultivated loyalty among the gods and mortals alike, rewarding those who supported him and punishing those who defied him with measured justice. Cronus's legacy also instilled in Zeus a deep awareness of the fragility of power. The prophecy that haunted Cronus, that he would be overthrown by his own child, reminded Zeus that no ruler, no matter how powerful, is invincible. This awareness drove Zeus to establish a system of governance that emphasized fairness and balance, ensuring that no single entity could threaten his rule. By sharing power with his siblings and delegating responsibilities, Zeus created a stable and enduring order that stood in stark contrast to Cronus's chaotic reign. Yet, despite these differences, traces of Cronus's influence can still be seen in Zeus's actions. The king of the gods was not without his own moments of ruthlessness, such as his harsh punishments of Prometheus and the Titans who opposed him. These acts reveal that, while Zeus sought to avoid his father's mistakes, he still carried within him the weight of Cronus's legacy, a reminder that the past is never entirely left behind. As we reflect on the influence of Cronus on Zeus, it becomes clear that the Titan's reign served as both a warning and a blueprint. Cronus's failures taught Zeus the importance of wisdom, diplomacy, and adaptability, while his successes, however fleeting, highlighted the necessity of strength and resolve. Together, these lessons shaped Zeus into the ruler he became, laying the groundwork for the age of the Olympians and the enduring myths that continue to captivate us today. With this understanding of how Cronus's legacy shaped Zeus, let's now explore another dimension of the Titan story, his connection to the underworld and the myths surrounding his imprisonment in Tartarus. Now, as we delve deeper into the shadows of Cronus's story, we uncover his profound connection to the underworld, a realm that became both his prison and a symbol of his enduring legacy. After his defeat in the Titanomachy, Cronus and the Titans were cast into Tartarus, a place of eternal darkness and torment deep beneath the earth. This wasn't just a physical imprisonment, it was a cosmic statement, marking the end of the Titans' reign and the rise of the Olympians. Tartarus, often described as a vast, chasm-like abyss, was more than a dungeon. It was a place where the boundaries between life, death, and divine punishment blurred, and Cronos's presence there cemented his role in the mythology of the afterlife. Cronos's imprisonment in Tartarus also highlights the cyclical nature of power in Greek mythology. Just as he had overthrown his father Uranus, Chronos himself was overthrown by his son Zeus, and the cycle of rebellion and retribution continued. Tartarus became a reminder of the consequences of hubris and the inevitability of divine justice. For Chronos, it was a place of reflection, a stark contrast to his once glorious rule over the cosmos. Yet, even in this desolate realm, his influence lingered. Some myths suggest that Cronos's presence in Tartarus shaped the underworld structure, with his eternal confinement serving as a warning to other would-be challengers of the Olympian order. Beyond his imprisonment, Cronos's connection to the underworld extends to his role in afterlife myths. In some traditions, Chronos was believed to have a hand in the judgment of souls, particularly during the mythical Golden Age. This era, often associated with his rule, was said to be a time when mortals lived in harmony with the gods, and death was a peaceful transition rather than a fearful descent. Even after his fall, Cronos's association with this idealized past linked him to themes of renewal and the afterlife, suggesting that his legacy wasn't solely one of punishment but also of hope and transformation. Interestingly, later myths and cults even reimagined Cronos's fate, suggesting that he was eventually released from Tartarus and granted a place in the Isles of the Blessed, a paradise reserved for the most virtuous souls. This duality in his story, both as a prisoner of Tartarus and a figure of redemption, adds depth to his character, showing that even the most feared titans could find a measure of peace in the afterlife. Cronos's ties to the underworld remind us that his story is not just one of power and downfall, but also of the enduring interplay between light and darkness, punishment and redemption. As we move forward, we'll explore how Cronos's legacy continued to evolve, not just in the myths of the underworld, but also in the rituals and worship dedicated to him in ancient Greece. Now, shifting our focus from the shadows of the underworld to the light of ancient Greek worship, we explore how Chronos was honored and revered in the daily lives of the people. While Chronos is often remembered for his dramatic myths and his fall from power, his worship reveals a different side of his legacy, one tied to agriculture, time, and the cycles of nature. In ancient Greece, Chronos was not as widely worshipped as the Olympian gods, but his presence was still felt in certain regions and rituals. One of the most significant festivals dedicated to him was the Chronia, celebrated primarily in Athens. This festival, held during the summer harvest, was a time of joy and equality. Slaves were temporarily freed from their duties, and masters and servants dined together, symbolizing the harmony and abundance of Cronos's mythical Golden Age. The Chronia was a rare moment in Greek society where social hierarchies were set aside, reflecting Cronos's association with a time of peace and prosperity. Temples dedicated to Chronos were less common than those of other deities, but they did exist. One notable example was the Temple of Chronos in Olympia, located near the famous Temple of Zeus. This proximity was symbolic, representing the transition from the old order of the Titans to the new order of the Olympians. The temple served as a reminder of Cronos's once great power and his eventual downfall, yet it also honored his role in the cosmic cycle of time and renewal. Rituals honoring Chronos often involved offerings of grain, fruits, and other agricultural products, emphasizing his connection to the harvest and the earth. These offerings were made to ensure a bountiful harvest and to honor Chronos as a god who presided over the natural cycles of growth and decay. In some traditions, participants would also reenact myths related to Chronos, such as his overthrow of Uranus or his eventual defeat by Zeus, blending storytelling with religious practice. Interestingly, Cronus's worship also extended to his association with time. In later periods, particularly under Roman influence, Cronus became increasingly linked with Chronos, the personification of time. This connection added a philosophical dimension to his worship, as devotees saw him not just as a god of the harvest, but as a symbol of the eternal passage of time and the inevitability of change. The worship of Cronus, though not as prominent as that of other gods, offers a fascinating glimpse into how the ancient Greeks viewed their deities. It shows that even a figure as complex and feared as Cronus could be honored for his contributions to the natural world and the cycles of life. As we continue, we'll delve into Cronus's role in creation myths, exploring how his actions shaped the very fabric of the cosmos. Now, as we turn our gaze to the very origins of the cosmos, we find Cronus playing a pivotal role in the creation myths of Greek mythology. While he is often remembered for his reign as the king of the Titans and his dramatic downfall, Cronus's actions were instrumental in shaping the universe as the ancient Greeks understood it. His story is deeply intertwined with the birth of order from chaos, marking a crucial chapter in the mythological narrative of creation. In the beginning, according to Greek mythology, there was only chaos, a formless, endless void. From this primordial state emerged Gaia, the earth, and Uranus, the sky. Together, they gave birth to the Titans, with Chronos as their youngest and most ambitious son. Cronus's rise to power began with his violent overthrow of Uranus, an act that not only freed his siblings but also set the stage for the establishment of a new cosmic order. By castrating Uranus, Cronus separated the sky from the earth, creating the space in which life could flourish. This act was more than just a rebellion. It was a foundational moment in the creation of the world as the Greeks knew it. Cronus's reign as the ruler of the cosmos marked a period of transition and transformation. Under his rule, the Titans governed the universe, maintaining a delicate balance between the forces of nature. His connection to time, later emphasized in his association with Chronos, further underscores his role in the cyclical nature of creation. The ancient Greeks saw time as a force that both created and destroyed, and Chronos embodied this duality. His actions, from the overthrow of Uranus to his eventual defeat by Zeus, were seen as part of the eternal cycle of creation, destruction, and renewal. Interestingly, Cronus's role in creation myths also highlights the tension between the old and the new. His reign represented the old order of the Titans, a time when the cosmos was still taking shape. His downfall at the hands of Zeus symbolized the rise of the Olympians and the establishment of a new, more structured order. This transition was not just a shift in power, but a fundamental reordering of the universe, with the Olympians bringing stability and governance to the chaotic forces that Chronos once ruled. Cronus's legacy in creation myths extends beyond his role as a ruler. He is a symbol of the transformative power of time and the inevitability of change. His story reminds us that creation is not a single event but an ongoing process, shaped by the interplay of forces both divine and natural. As we move forward, we'll explore the symbolic meaning of Cronus's downfall and how it represents the transition from the old order of the Titans to the new order of the Olympians, a theme that resonates deeply in the myths of ancient Greece. Now, as we delve deeper into the layers of Cronus's story, we come to a pivotal moment that carries profound symbolic weight: the downfall of Chronos. This event is far more than just a tale of defeat. It represents a monumental shift in the cosmic order, marking the transition from the age of the Titans to the rise of the Olympians. Cronus's fall is not merely the end of his reign, but the beginning of a new era, one defined by structure, justice, and the rule of Zeus and his siblings. At its core, Cronus's downfall symbolizes the inevitability of change. Just as he once overthrew his father Uranus to establish his own rule, Chronos himself was destined to be overthrown by his son Zeus. This cyclical pattern of power rising, ruling, and falling reflects the ancient Greek understanding of time and destiny. Chronos, often associated with time itself, becomes a living embodiment of this cycle. His defeat is a reminder that no power is eternal, and that even the mightiest rulers must eventually yield to the forces of change. The transition from the Titans to the Olympians also carries a deeper symbolic meaning. The Titans represented the raw, untamed forces of nature, chaotic, primal, and often unpredictable. Cronos's rule, while powerful, was marked by fear and paranoia, as seen in his decision to swallow his children to prevent his own downfall. In contrast, the Olympians brought order, law, and a sense of justice to the cosmos. Zeus, as the new king of the gods, established a more structured and balanced rule, one that sought to harmonize the natural and divine worlds. This shift from chaos to order is a recurring theme in mythology, reflecting humanity's own journey toward civilization. The Titans, with their immense power and lack of restraint, symbolize the wild, untamed aspects of existence. The Olympians, on the other hand, represent the human desire for stability, morality, and governance. Cronos's defeat, therefore, is not just a change in leadership but a transformation of the very fabric of the universe. Moreover, Cronos's downfall serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked power and the consequences of fear-driven decisions. His attempt to defy fate by swallowing his children ultimately led to his undoing as Zeus, saved by Rhea's cunning, grew to challenge and defeat him. This narrative underscores the idea that power, when wielded without wisdom or compassion, is destined to crumble. As we reflect on the symbolism of Cronos's downfall, we see it as a turning point in the mythological narrative, a moment that bridges the old and the new, the chaotic and the orderly. It is a story of transformation, of the eternal struggle between creation and destruction, and of the enduring hope for a better, more balanced world. With this understanding, we now turn to the final chapter of Cronos's story, exploring his ultimate fate and the legacy he left behind in the myths of ancient Greece. As we step into the final chapter of Cronos's story, we find ourselves exploring the enigmatic and often debated tales of his ultimate fate. After his defeat in the Titanomachy and his imprisonment in the depths of Tartarus, one might assume that Cronos's story ends there. But mythology, as always, offers more layers to uncover. Some legends suggest that Chronos was eventually released from his eternal prison, marking a surprising twist in his narrative. According to certain traditions, Zeus, in an act of mercy or perhaps strategic wisdom, decided to free Chronos from Tartarus. This act of clemency is said to have occurred after the Olympians had firmly established their rule, ensuring that Chronos no longer posed a threat. In these versions of the myth, Chronos is granted a place in the Isles of the Blessed, a paradise reserved for the most distinguished heroes and figures of myth. Here, he is said to live in peace, far removed from the struggles and conflicts that defined his earlier life. The Isles of the Blessed, often described as a utopian realm of eternal spring and abundance, symbolize a form of redemption for Chronos. His presence there raises intriguing questions about forgiveness, transformation, and the possibility of second chances, even for those who once wielded immense power and fell from grace. This version of Cronos's fate offers a more nuanced perspective on his character, suggesting that even the most flawed figures in mythology can find a measure of peace and reconciliation. However, not all myths agree on this outcome. In other traditions, Chronos remains imprisoned in Tartarus, serving as a perpetual reminder of the consequences of hubris and the inevitability of divine justice. These stories emphasize the cyclical nature of power and the idea that no ruler, no matter how mighty, is immune to the forces of fate. Cronos's eternal confinement in Tartarus underscores the themes of punishment and retribution that run through many Greek myths, reinforcing the moral lessons embedded in his story. Interestingly, some interpretations blend these two narratives, suggesting that Cronos's fate is not fixed but varies depending on the storyteller or the cultural context. This fluidity reflects the richness of mythology, where multiple versions of a story can coexist, each offering its own insights and interpretations. Whether Chronos finds redemption in the Isles of the Blessed or remains a prisoner in Tartarus, his final fate continues to captivate and inspire, inviting us to reflect on the complexities of power, justice, and the human condition. As we conclude our exploration of Cronos's legends, we are reminded of the enduring power of these ancient stories to illuminate timeless truths. Cronos's journey, from a powerful ruler to a fallen titan, and perhaps even to a figure of redemption, serves as a profound metaphor for the cycles of life, the inevitability of change, and the possibility of transformation. His legacy, woven into the fabric of Greek mythology, continues to resonate, offering us a window into the hopes, fears, and aspirations of the ancient world. As we bring our journey through the 30 legends of Cronus to a close, it's impossible not to marvel at the sheer complexity of this towering figure in Greek mythology. From his rise as the king of the Titans to his dramatic fall and the lingering questions about his ultimate fate, Chronos embodies the timeless themes of power, fear, and transformation. His story is one of ambition and downfall, of paranoia and redemption, and of the eternal struggle between the old and the new. Cronos's legacy is a tapestry woven with threads of triumph and tragedy. He overthrew his father Uranus to claim the throne, only to be consumed by the same fear of being overthrown. His reign marked a golden age of prosperity, yet it was also defined by his desperate attempts to cling to power, even at the cost of his own children. The Titanomachy, the war that sealed his fate, stands as a testament to the cyclical nature of power and the inevitability of change. Yet, even in defeat, Cronos's influence endures. His connection to time, agriculture, and the cycles of nature has left an indelible mark on mythology and culture. Whether he is remembered as a tyrant, a tragic figure, or a symbol of redemption, Chronos continues to captivate our imagination. His story invites us to reflect on the complexities of leadership, the consequences of our actions, and the possibility of second chances. As we look back on these 30 legends, it's clear that Chronos is more than just a figure of myth. He is a mirror reflecting the hopes, fears, and struggles of humanity itself. His tales remind us that even the mightiest can fall, but they also offer a glimmer of hope that even the fallen can find peace. Now, we'd love to hear from you. Which of Cronos's legends resonated with you the most? Was it his rise to power, his dramatic downfall, or the mysteries surrounding his final fate? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into the fascinating world of mythology. Thank you for joining us on this epic journey through the life and legacy of Chronos, the King of the Titans. Until next time, keep exploring the stories that shape our world.